So Canada is no longer considered measles-free. After 27 years, the Pan American Health Organization took away our status for failing to prevent the transmission of the virus, which began over a year ago. As of the end of October, more than 5,000 measles cases and 2 deaths were recorded, and most of those infections were in Alberta and Ontario. So Colin, how are you taking in this news?
Really disappointed, very disappointed. And I don't understand in this world today how it became science is a bad thing and is less than your opinion. It's like if I feel I can get away with this and be fine, as opposed to all the facts that are coming my way, it's insane. It's like, if it looks like a duck and it sounds like a duck, it's a sandwich. That's what it feels like with people. They're not listening.
How did we get here? What do you think caused this mistrust of science?
It really sort of peaked, I think, during COVID. People started feeling it was, conspiracies start, and that sort of builds steam, and people are losing confidence in doctors and in the media, and it's just a fragile ecosystem right now. And anything that will make you feel better about yourself and not necessarily go with the flow, it seems to be that's what people are jumping on.
I like that you said it peaked during the pandemic, and I completely agree. But there were little hints of it sort of percolating before. In 2013 was when we first started sort of hearing about this anti-vaccination crowd. And there was a 2014 study that I've cited before that took my breath away when I first read it, that found that the more someone believed in conspiracy theories, the more likely they were to take vitamins and supplements, and the less likely they were to wear sunscreen or get a flu shot. And I think within that study, there's this very sort of evidence of that ecosystem of which you're speaking. Like, that is how it sort of starts. And then I think it grows, it blossoms into what we have now. And it's not only disappointing, it's scary. It's very scary.
I say that because we are of the generation where we probably all were born and got the MMR, which is the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine. We're doing okay. I think we're okay. We're up here. We're looking good. There has been a shift.
It's the greatest innovation in human history.
In human history. So the question is, at what point did people start to distrust that, and why? And I think that's where you can get really interesting. Sure, the COVID vaccine, there's been a ripple effect because when we were all stuck at home, a lot of people did actually get backlogged legitimately with getting vaccines for their kids and everything because we weren't going to the doctor. So everybody got off schedule. So that started that. But then when we got off schedule, we weren't seeing each other, but we were reading this. And then to your point about conspiracy theories and anything that was already percolating about anti-vax, anti-science, there's a conspiracy, where did this virus even come from? Then all of a sudden, I think this thing took a different flavor. Anti-vax wasn't just like, I don't know about the science. It became an identity thing. And I think when your identity is, I'm not going with the flow, you can't tell me what to do. And I think something took on a life of its own, that you are almost like a rebel if you stand up to science. And yet the measles in particular is something that our generation maybe saw, but the younger generation, and I think a lot of anti-vaxxers never saw or have forgotten what the measles can do to a young child's body. The same thing with polio. We have all these things. We're living too soft of a life that we forget how hard life was before vaccines.
I was actually flabbergasted and embarrassed, and I don't like shame as a thing, but I feel a little bit of collective shame for us when I read that in July, Alberta reported more cases than the entire United States. Just let that sink in for a moment. The question is why given everything you've said, which makes so much sense, why is this spreading so much more rapidly in Canada than in the United States? At least, like that to me, I can't wrap my brain around part of it.
Did you read that the New York Times did an investigation that discovered as measles was spreading and gaining traction last year, provincial politicians stopped public health offices from speaking out about the value of vaccinations. And Daniel Smith called Alberta's unvaccinated the most discriminated against group.
The most discriminated against group.
Yeah.
Again, just let that sink in for a moment. Like I think it's so important overall to know that this is a problem globally, but we wear a big part of this ourselves. Now, this massive outbreak, I do think it's interesting to know this it is traced back to late 2024. There was an individual who contracted measles at a large Mennonite gathering in New Brunswick, brought it back to Ontario. It spread like wildfire. That's not to say that all Mennonites are anti-vaxxers. They aren't. They're not a monolith. But that was a piece of this that we do have to take into consideration that helped it spread. And then it's this kind of connection between the large amount of people who've become anti-vaxxers. So I think that we need to have some serious conversations. Public health needs to get involved right away.
Well, I think we should start funding public health appropriately. Yeah. We need major campaigns now.
Yeah. There's also
politicians step out of the way to allow that to happen.
But there's systemic problems too, and we don't have time to get into it. Hopefully we'll talk about this more again. But I'll just say as a mother, my son has been vaccinated. And one of the things, thank you, like all of the vaccines and constantly. But one thing I've noticed is that, like, for example, recently I got a message from Toronto Public Health School saying, can you confirm his vaccinations? And I'm like, he's been going to school. Why am I confirming this now? He's 12 years old. So why? I had assumed that there was a system whereby my doctor would be speaking to public health to notify. So when you think about the implications of that, if my son's been going to school freely, he is vaccinated, but maybe some aren't. Or maybe you've got people who don't know the systems and they haven't had the time to input this data. Yep. There's a problem also with systems here that needs to be addressed. Big time.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wow.
We ain't got no time for pseudoscience, okay? We ain't got no time for it.
I really miss talking about underwear.